Hey everybody, it's Dave from Flash and Dance DJ Service. Here it is, the 16th of March. We're already getting and starting to ramp up the busy season. So today I am going to talk about and go back to January and February of this year. I was just going through, and one thing I'm going to pride myself on is no more than 2 takes on a gig log. And what I mean by that is if I'm going back and I'm reshooting something like I just watched for like not even 15 seconds of the one that I just shot, I wasn't too happy with it. Not because of that, it was too dark, things like that. I pride myself on giving you at least good and valuable content. So I am in my office today. You gotta still be the family man, not just the business owner. So I'm gonna touch on a couple of different things today. So we're gonna jump back all the way to January. So I personally, once I do New Year's Eve with my friend George at Whites of Westport, which is an annual tradition for me and him, he does the DJing and music video side of it. I take care of the lighting side of it. And last year it was one of the best that we've done as far as a collective since we've been doing them together. So anyway, fast forward, I try not to really book too much in January and February. I try to slow down, take a step back, become that family man again. I try to become part of my family because there's a lot of times once we get into the main part of the year, I try to, it's not always possible, but I try to keep Sundays available for my family so I can spend time with them, and if something's going on, they can schedule parties and the like on a Sunday. So anyway, so in January, I think it was back in December, a buddy of mine had asked me about DJing a family party for him, birthday party. I said, absolutely, local venue. It's going to be at the Fireside, the whole 9 yards. I call the Fireside like I always do. I always call, the day before. If it's not a venue I regularly go to, or I'm doing sound at or something like that, like if it's a one-off, then I make a point during the week, and sometimes I try to call the day before just to say, hey, by the way, I'm Dave, I'm from Flash and Dance DJ Service, production services, I'm doing this, that, and the other, and what time can I get into loading? So it was at the Fireside Grill. That's close to where I live. So they told me I had 1 hour before, which brain-wise isn't a good thing, but it is what it is. So I offered DJ services and uplighting, very, very simple services. One of the big thing I will say is that I got a compliment on was the music I played, not just by the family, but I also got complimented by the venue for how different the music was, number one. Number two, when the bartender went to go up into one of the closets that's up on the stage, I had cable ramps that were out, and she looked at me and she goes, what's your name? I said, Dave. And she goes, Dave, that was such a relief. She's like, most people just put wires down, this and that. But when I got to the top of the stairs, the first time I saw this thing, I took a double take. And then when I realized what it was, she's like, it was one of the best things I've seen in a long time. So that made me feel good. So that's something that I'm priding myself on, and I've told that to many people. Just a quick side note. So you also have to realize sometimes when you do things, why you're doing them and what the reason is. And like, I'm trying to get away from tape if I can help it. Not that I don't want to tape things if I have to. For example, prime example, on Saturday, I did a wedding for a really young couple. I met them back in August, September, and that gig log, when that pops up, you guys need to watch it. It's going to be one of those that you guys, not the, and I'm just saying that in general terms, whoever's watching, women, men, boys, girls, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm all inclusive. Just when I say you guys, I'm just talking about you, my crowd. So I had put a speaker on the far side of the room, not like far side away. I'm talking like maybe 20 feet, 30 feet on the side of me. And there was a doorway. Me, cable ramps. Well, Danielle, the coordinator, came over at one point and said, "Hey, Dave, I know you're running around. You got to take care of the ceremony and all that." She goes, "When you have a chance, I think the cable ramp's a little too big. I love the idea, but I think the bridal party might trip and fall." I said, "Okay, no problem. Easy enough." I said, "Can you at least let me get this room set and then I'll take care of it, or I'll come back before we do intros and I'll do it?" And she's like, "Absolutely." So as long as it got done, she didn't care. Now, this was the great thing about her and her staff, and I got to give them a big compliment, and I'll get back into the video, is that they were very helpful. They were not the kind of venue that I walk into sometimes, and it's like, you're the entertainment, we're the venue, we don't help you. When I asked anything in the venue, they turned around and they stepped up, and I don't mean anything out of the ordinary. Like, while I was gone and I was doing the ceremony with Danielle and some of the other staff members, they took it upon themselves to tuck away the uplighting cases. Not so they weren't where I didn't know where they were, but just out of the way. So that way when cocktail hour started, they were just tucked off to the side. They took the cable ramps I took, and I didn't have a chance to put them in the trailer before I moved it. They tucked that underneath a table. I was blown away when I walked back in the room. So anyway, so let's get back into the gig log. So that day I go and do my friend's party, 1 hour, had no time to spare. As guests are walking in, I'm putting out the uplights. I go over and I talk to my friend's wife, and she's like, "Just put on a golf shirt. Don't worry about it. You look fine." So that's sometimes why I like doing parties versus weddings, because weddings, as we know, you have to put a suit on and stuff like that. And then when you only have a certain time restraint to get things done, sometimes you don't always look the best. So get the party done, get things out, get the uplights up. And one thing we talked about was a slow fade on the uplights, so that way they'd always be changing. Perfect. I brought my lighting in with me for that event. I never even used it, and I was glad I didn't, because I only had maybe 5 to 10 dancers out of 50 to 70 people at like maybe 10-minute intervals. Like, I'd have people out there for 10, 15 minutes, then I'd have a lull of nobody on the dance floor for like 10, 20 minutes, then I'd get another group of 10, 15 people. And some DJs would look at that as, that's not good. Well, guess what? I find it as a win, because that means that they were cherry picking what they wanted to have fun with. So, and it was all over the place too. Like, when I opened the dance floor, it was Summer of '69, went into like Run Around Sue, and I think September with my opening 3 for that night. All 3 hit. And as soon as I went to, I think, it was either a Lizzo or a Bruno song or something like that. And not that it bombed, but I lost half the floor. And a lot of people would look at that and say, "Oh, that wasn't good." Yes, it was. Because they wanted to go on the floor. They wanted to join the birthday person, which was a woman, wanted to join her and help her enjoy that part of the night. And that's how it went all night long. It was on and off, on and off, on and off. And like, I had this one kid who came up and a lot of DJs would be annoyed by this, he wanted to hear Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, all the stuff that not appropriate for said event. But I looked at him and I said, "You know what?" I said, "How about this? I'll make you a deal. Since I can't play those songs you're asking for, how about this? How about the Unforgiven from Metallica?" He goes, "What, will you?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." We were still in like dinner mode. And I'm like, and that's the thing, songs like that. And sure, I had him come back and ask me for a few more songs. And I looked at him and I said, "This isn't just about you. This is about the part," kind of joking around. And he looks at me and goes, "Yeah, I know." And I go, and I said, "How about this? I'll make a deal with you. If you let me pick out a moderate rock song, a little bit later in the night, would that be okay?" He goes, "Yeah, as long as I hear it before I leave, because I'm not staying the whole night." I said, "That's fine. If you want to come up and let me know when you're just about to leave, if I can, I'll throw it in." He comes up to me, like, I think we were like an hour and 45 minutes in, and there was nobody on the dance floor, and he looks at me and he goes, can you do it? And I'm like, what song is it? And I forget what the song was, but it was actually was something by Nickelback, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely, and I threw that in. So, you know, I basically made a kid's night by doing those couple of songs. Then let's fast forward to the end of January. So what you're gonna see is you're gonna see at the end of the video, I'm gonna put in a picture from the birthday party. This will be from the January one. This is a shot from me looking down off the stage at the crowd. And it's such a beautiful shot that I didn't even intentionally take, that it ended up on the back of my new business card that I have. And that's something I'm going to talk about in one of my upcoming videos as well, probably one of my tech videos. Because Wednesdays isn't just about tech, it's about anything to do with business. So with that being said, now let's fast forward to February 28th, which is Red Solo Cup at the Lokai restaurant up in Drake. So this was a fun one. I call them, they gave me a 3 to 4 hour window to set up. I could get there around 1, didn't get there till almost 2. Band was showing up between 3 and 4. They didn't get there till almost 4 o'clock, which was fine. We had 2 hours to set up, sound check, and doors were at 6. Buffet was at 6:30. Performance was from 8 to 10. Wrap up, obviously, got out by 12. So with that being said, I got another compliment because I decided to set up out front, create a full front of house. And that's one thing I pride on, is working well with a venue. And I did that. So I set up to do sound check, and they were like, well, we're just afraid somebody's going to bump your table, knock a computer over, this and that. I'm like, don't worry about it. Let's figure out a way that it's going to work. And we pulled my main rack forward, and we put my 4-foot high-rise table, as I call it, and we put it in back of my rack. Perfectly fine. It worked well. Was able to reach because they had their own lighting rig, so it wasn't anything great like a concert venue, but it was good. And Tim likes to bring a laser that he puts up, so I have my hazer in my trailer now all the time. So I brought one of the hazers in, ran a 100-foot DMX cable out, and I just controlled my hazer all night. It was perfect for what we had. And basically, the thing that I got complimented on, I had cable ramps everywhere. So right across the bottom of the stairs that was near me, and then all the way up the side. So basically the dance floor was sunken down, and then you had a raised stage up in the middle. And then I was up on one of the edges towards the back, and it was maybe about 25, 30 feet, maybe a little bit more than that. The dance floor was probably 20 by 40, something like that. And so I ran my cables, but I put cable ramps underneath where there's a little trough, put cable ramps there, put a cable ramp across the other stairs that were on the other side, and then the cables went up the side of the stairs, and I put a cable ramp where the guys were walking on and off the stage. Now, this was the first time I also used my fins for my wireless mics, because when we do this show, when they're working with me, we try to make it like the real Toby Keith. Toby was on a wireless once he got very big and very famous, so put him on a wireless all the time whenever I work with them, unless we're in a tight and really super, super tight environment. Plus, with using a wireless, what's cool is James can tuck himself into the back of the room like he did for this show, and he actually walked through the crowd singing the opening song. So it was cool. It was a good night. One thing that, other than the cable ramp thing, the staff there is very personal, very, very likable. The door guy came up to me at one point when I was getting some fresh air. Now, the guys did their full set, 2.5 hours, but instead of putting breaks in there, they put no breaks, went straight through, took out 3 acoustic songs that they do. The guitar player, Tim, he opened up the show, which was kind of cool. The doorman said that tickets never sold as fast as they thought they did this time. And on top of that, the size of the crowd that we had was one of the biggest they've had in a really long time. And the people did not leave for at least 45 minutes to a half hour, actually longer than that, more 40 minutes, I think he said, before people started actually going outside, whether it be for a cigarette or they were leaving or whatever was happening. So, you know, it's just amazing sometimes the things that you see. So, anyway, I hope you're doing well out there. It is a rainy Monday here, and one of the things that was interesting, I almost totally spaced out about doing this. I'm trying to pride myself on taking care of it and keeping up with the gig logs now going forward. Every Monday having some sort of content out, every Wednesday having something out for you guys. I'm calling Wednesdays Tech Tip Wednesdays, but it's not necessarily going to be a tech tip. It could be something about like my new business cards, or something I learned while I was at a show, or something I learned during the week. So whatever it could be, I will let you know about it. So my sign off, I think, is going to be going forward, learn one thing. And when I say learn one thing, I'm not meaning about what we do for work. I'm talking about generically in life, work, whatever it may be. Learn one thing and treat others as how you want to be treated. Remember, we got a lot of things going on in this world, and the last thing we want to do is treat others meanly or harshly. Yes, we all have opinions about stuff, but always learn, expand, and be that person you always wanted to be. So with that said, I'll see you on the next one.